The first thing is, if you're going to do something, do it well. If you're going to do something, do it right. And that really served him. My father was in the military. He was a captain in the U.S. Navy. He was on many ships. He was in the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was, as a commander in the Navy, he was a captain of a newly commissioned ship, the USS John Paul Jones. So as a kid, I remember that commissioning because we all got to sit in a place of honor, and everyone's saluting my dad, and there's all these dignitaries and all of these men on the ship, and I thought, holy moly, my dad's the boss. Pretty exciting. Because he was a commander of the USS John Paul Jones, he earned the rank of captain and then worked at the Pentagon in international security affairs. So I heard some stories, but I couldn't get all the details. But there was something about Noriega and the Sandinistas and going to Nicaragua, all of these things. My dad, when he did something, he did it well. When he retired from the Navy, we moved to the middle of nowhere, Central Valley, California, Sanger, California, and he bought an orange grove. Did he know anything about farming? No, but he learned. He used his engineering skills to become one of the first people in the Central Valley to use drip irrigation. And I learned a lot about drippers, a punch and a hose and putting drippers on, and then riding around on an ATV making sure that, which was actually really fun. That was the fun part, making sure that none of the drippers had popped off and water was going everywhere. But my dad did something, he did it well, and it served me in my career as a financial planner. I received many thank yous from clients who retired and said, when 2008 hit, right? Well, 2000 and then 2008, people called me and said, I just want to thank you so much, Nancy, for your diligence in that working hard. As a personal finance writer, and here trying to give really good speeches when I can, but as a parent and as a friend, you're going to do something, do it well. And maybe a little of the joy of life. So trying to learn to really enjoy my life too, and have a great life moving to Park City. If you're going to do something, do it well. So my dad was kind of a Superman. So Superman's daughter. But one thing I learned, another thing I learned from my dad was this kryptonite. We all have a weakness. His weakness was my mother. You could understand that. She was sweet. She was quiet. She was an empathetic person. She was his polar opposite. She had a little Jackie O in her, and so she had the dinner parties where we had the admirals and the Joint Chief of Staff, and then the next door neighbor was Secret Service for President Nixon. And she could handle a dinner party. And she had, like I said, she had a sweetness about her. When I took my mom to Paris, my dad didn't like to travel. When we went to Paris, she supposedly spoke French, so I was like, okay, cool, I don't have to learn anything. But she was so quiet. No one could understand what she was saying. So we were trying to order dinner, and she's speaking in this little diminutive French, and I'm coming out with my high school Spanish. We finally were able to order. Oh my gosh. My mother. What my dad taught me was to love deeply. All marriages have tough spots, right? I've been married 19 years, or coming on 20 years. My parents were married 49 years before my mom passed away. Well, my mother had manic depression. She was bipolar. So some days were crazy, and some days were normal. But my dad stuck with her through thick and thin, and there was lots of thick. And what that taught me was no matter what you're going through, you have a partner in life. You stick with that partner. You care for them. You love them. So that's a really good lesson to learn, and it served me well with my 19 years of marriage. We all get hurt in life, right? We all have our heart broken. But what I learned from my father was to open your heart into such a place that It's almost scary because he's that directive person, and my mom was that sweet, sweet person. So when the two make one, when you lose one, it's pretty hard. So if you're going to do something, do it well. And when you love, love deeply. Thank you, Dad.